Hey, working mom, welcome to Organizing for Beautiful Living, the podcast that provides sustainable organizing, decluttering, and lifestyle tips for working moms and entrepreneurs. I'm Zizi Mann, professional organizer with Firefly Bridge Organizing, and I'm here to share simple ideas that don't take a lot of time so that you can love the way your home looks and functions, and so you can feel more confident about your time, and so you're proud to invite anyone over anytime without stressing out about clutter. Ready to get beautifully organized? Let's make it happen. We are smack dab in the middle of the holiday season, and so today I want to give you my tips for how to stay organized during your holiday travels. I worked as a research engineer years ago, and I would travel to the company's manufacturing facilities to run plant trials, to basically test out how formulas and processes that I had developed in the lab would scale up to full production mode. Now, normally these trips would take a couple of days because we would run the trial one day, but then we need to wait for the product to be completed and packaged to test the quality and the results and things. So I'd pack a carry-on, and then I'd also have a bag for my laptop and my personal stuff. Well, one of these trials happened in the middle of winter in Minnesota. Minnesota in winter is cold. I needed to bring layers because in any of my downtime, I wanted to be able to go for a walk at the park near the hotel or to walk around downtown in the little town that we were in. So I had, all my layers, my big puffer coat and all of that stuffed into my little carry-on suitcase. And it had been a busy weekend before this plant trial, and so I packed in a real hurry. On the morning of the plant trial, I'm in the hotel, I open up my carry-on to grab my clothes and my steel-toed boots, which we were required to wear steel-toed shoes in this particular plant, only to find that I'd forgotten to pack them. So here's the deal. I could go to the plant without steel-toed shoes, and I could go into the offices and into the conference rooms, but I couldn't go onto the manufacturing floor, which I needed to in order to run this trial. It was 6:30 in the morning. The trial would start at 7 sharp. There was no delaying anything so that the plant could continue to make regular products on schedule after the time that was allotted for my trial run. And nothing was open. No shops were open in the town yet. Not to mention that this was a tiny town. The closest town with a store that carried steel-toed shoes of any kind was almost an hour away. So my only option was to go to the plant and see if I could borrow some steel-toe boots. I have size 7, women's size 7 feet. The only boots that anyone could find that morning at the plant were a men's size 10. So I clunked around the manufacturing plant in something that looked like clown shoes all day. I got some blisters. I wounded my pride in front of dozens of mostly male technicians, but I completed the trial successfully. And I never forgot to pack steel-toed shoes for plant trials again. It was early in my career, but it taught me a lesson about organization and preparation. So here are my tips so you'll never forget your steel-toed shoes or anything else critical to your trip on this holiday, okay? The first thing to do is to create a packing list. I don't start a new packing list for each trip I take. Instead, I've created a couple of packing lists. One is for vacations and the other is for work trips. If you create this list on your task planning app or just on a notes app on your phone, then you can also share it with your family members so they can use it too. So if you're going on a family vacation, you all start with the same basic list of items that you need. So when we would go on vacation, I would say things like 5 tops and 5 bottoms and 6 pairs of socks and 6 pairs of underwear. And so my kids would plan on that. And it's also a reminder for me that this is how many of each item we would need to take. So I start with the same list each time, and I simply add or subtract from it for each particular trip. This way, I won't forget things like external phone chargers or medications that one child might be taking temporarily. This little bit of preparation is really a great way to make the rest of your trip go really well. The worst thing, of course, is to be overseas or in a remote area and realize you've forgotten something crucial. and you can't get it. So create a list that you'll use again and again and share it with your family so they can use it too. Now, next comes the actual packing. I am well aware that most places we go, whether they're family or friends' homes or a hotel or a cruise ship cabin, most of these places have very limited storage space. So it's not like you're always going to be able to fully unpack your suitcases. It's a real luxury when you can. So imagine a family of 4 in one hotel room at a place like Disney World. You might have 3 working drawers in that entire room and maybe a little bit of hanging space. It's unlikely that everyone will be able to empty their suitcases completely. So treating the interior of a suitcase as a drawer is really key to staying organized during your entire holiday. I do this in a couple of ways. So one is I love packing cubes to compartmentalize things in my suitcase. You can squeeze a lot into a packing cube, especially clothes that aren't prone to wrinkling, like jeans, leggings, t-shirts, underwear, and socks, that kind of thing. So then you can bring a smaller suitcase because you can fit more into it, making you more mobile, more nimble during your holiday, especially if you're moving from city to city. Now, pack your packing cubes by category. So underwear and socks in one, tops in another, pants in another. I also pack a packing cube of toiletries and non-essential medication like pain relievers, Band-Aids, that sort of thing. So in the hotel, I don't have to unpack my suitcase to find what I need quickly to keep track of my clothes. All the packing cubes stay neatly stacked and arranged inside my suitcase all the time. And don't forget to add an extra empty packing cube for the dirty laundry. At some point, you'll be collecting dirty laundry, right? I don't want that mixed in with my clean clothes. So I fold up my dirty laundry and keep it in a packing cube until either we do laundry or until we get home. If you're traveling with young kids, you can set them up to get dressed on their own by bundling a full outfit together for each day. So place all the pieces of an outfit together, the top, the bottom, or the dress, or whatever the case may be, including socks and underwear for that outfit, and roll them or fold them all together with the socks and underwear tucked inside the bundle. This way, there's never the possibility of not finding one sock or not knowing what to wear. I have a very good friend whose daughter went on a trip with her dad to Japan last year. Now, my friend wanted to make it as easy as possible for both dad and daughter to stay organized during the entire trip, and they also would be traveling across multiple cities while they were there. So she bundled each of her daughter's outfits like I described, and she actually packed each individual outfit into a separate zip-top bag and labeled each bag for which city to use them in since climates would be changing. It was brilliant. I mean, sure, it was a lot of work initially, but her daughter, who was about 9 at the time, felt so in control. She didn't have to wait for anyone to get dressed in the morning. It went great. Not to mention that her dad definitely felt relieved not to have to struggle with his daughter's tastes from one day to the next, right? If she didn't feel like wearing one thing in particular that day, well, then they just flipped through the various bags and looked at the options for that city and picked one that she was okay with. When you do this, you're limiting the choices for your kids. So you're not really giving them the option to mix and match, which for sure they could do. But on a holiday, sometimes it's best to be efficient, to keep things really simple. For my kids, fewer choices meant easier decisions when they were young. So I loved how my friend prepared that for her daughter. So another tip I have is to keep one electronic cord and charger organizing pouch or bag packed all the time. All of my electronic gadgets live in my pouch all the time, 24/7, even when I'm at home. So instead of keeping my earbuds and charger cords in a drawer at my desk at home, I always just put them back into my electronics pouch when I'm not using them. So one, I always know where to find my electronics, my chargers, and so on. And two, when I do travel, whether it's a long trip on an airplane or I'm just going to a coffee shop to work for a few hours, I just grab that one pouch and go. And I'm sure that I'm not forgetting anything that I might need. Try that and let me know what you think. It's worked great for me. It saves me so much time because when I pack, the line item on my packing list is cord pouch. It's not phone charger, earbuds, external battery, laptop cord, and on and on and on. I just grab that one pouch and I'm done. I don't have to reinvent the wheel when I'm traveling anywhere or going anywhere. And the last little travel organization tip I have is to begin to think more like a minimalist when you travel. Granted, when you have babies, it's like you're a pack camel. I remember having to take the breast pump, the cooler, all the diapers, rash cream, the wipes, the little nasal pump thing in case it got congested, and food. We often had to carry baby food depending on where we were going, and of course, snacks of every kind. But when you're traveling solo, or just as adults, or with older children, you can really choose to be more minimalist in your travels. I went to a conference recently and I wore my Rothy's pointy-toed flats for all the events. It was the one pair of shoes that I brought. I traveled in them and I wore them every day. They were casual enough for daytime meetings and dressy enough for the evening dinners with dressier clothing. And they are so comfortable. No, Rothy's is not paying me for this for this episode. It's just that I'm happy to have found one pair of shoes that is incredibly comfortable and it's not frumpy looking. It's something that's not an athletic shoe that I can wear it to more formal events. But I will link to the shoe that I own in the show notes so that you can check them out for yourself, okay? So think as a minimalist when you're packing. What can you remove from your suitcase? Here's the thing. I said that you can squeeze a whole lot of stuff into packing cubes, and this is true. But the more you pack, the more you squeeze in there, the heavier your suitcase is. Yes, you can fit more, but you also have to carry all of that with you, right? All of that weight. So usually before I close up my suitcase, I do look down at it and I think, okay, what can I realistically take out and not miss it? If there's a washing machine where I'm headed, then I don't need as many outfits. If I'm going to a hotel where most toiletries are provided, well, then I don't need to take my own shampoo, that kind of thing. Well, no matter where you're headed this holiday, keep these little tips in mind as you pack. I think it makes a holiday just so much more lovely and fulfilling when you're not distracted by lost socks or tripping over shoes as you walk into the hotel room. I hope you have a great week. Stay warm if you're up north, and I hope it's finally cooling down for you if you're down south. I'll see you on the next episode.